So, Tony, when we started out, you had expressed to me that you were at a level 8 as far as your stress level was concerned, and that was on a rating scale of 0 to 10, and that's just assessing your anxiety level. Um, and you had explained that your experiences with strangers growing up has not been very great, and Sophia will have to leave your mom and dad's home because they're aging and they just really can't provide care for her.
She has never been with anybody but our parents, ever. And I'm very concerned about it because I did have babysitters growing up. Now I wasn't autistic, but she can't advocate for herself. She can't tell us if something's wrong, if somebody hurts her. She can't tell us anything. So we're very upset about it. And I understand my parents are too old, but they're the only ones that ever watched her, and we totally trusted them.
Okay. Richard, how are you feeling about this?
Oh, the same. We're both very worried about her.
Okay. Now, the both of you have mentioned to me that you have pretty stressful careers. Is that correct? You're in administration, in education, Richard, and you're an anesthetist, Tony?
Yes.
So you both work full time. So the option you had stated earlier, Tony, that there is no option to quit work, to stay home with Sophia. So
Not at this time,
okay.
because we're paying for a lot of therapy for her.
Okay.
So we really need to do that so that we can help her.
Okay. Would you say that you're feeling like there is a light at the end of the tunnel as far as getting her into school full time? Is that an option right
Well,
now?
we're constantly looking for opportunities for her,
Okay.
educationally speaking, and things, perhaps in the future will change, and they'll have programs that work, that you can trust, and put an autistic child in and expect to see change in their behavior. But up until now, that hasn't been the case.
We're not really seeing it. We're not really happy with any of the programs we've looked at this point.
Okay.
Now maybe something's going to come up in the future, but right now
They're
we're not
isn't
seeing
an
it.
option.
Yeah, and so this really was messed up the apple cart with
Okay.
with them not able to do it anymore.
Okay. So, I really think that what would be beneficial for the both of you right now is that we can work on some ways that the two of you can deal with some of these anxieties. We're not putting aside the fact that there is work that has to be done as far as finding a good provider for childcare or schooling, but working on the anxieties may be a benefit. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm willing to do it because I'm really feeling the stress.
Okay.
Daily I'm feeling the stress and worrying all the time.
Yeah, I think you're on the right track there. We have to deal with our immediate problem, how we feel, and if we're not strong, if we can't hold it together, then we can't be of much help to her.
And you both, I'd like to ask you some questions about your roles. I'm sorry you're not feeling well today. Stress can also trigger that. Both of you assume a lot of responsibility, and I know that Richard, you and Tony have mentioned that your roles outside of your home, you also assume quite a bit of responsibility. Have you ever tried to put yourself in the role of Tony, a patient who is really depending on you for care, and Richard, parents who are entrusting their children at your school for the day? Have you ever thought at all about what it is that a parent or a patient does have control over?
Well, you don't always feel like you have much control over anything, but certainly the things that are closest to you and under your legal care, you have the best opportunity for having control over, and you can reduce your stress level by keeping those in good shape.
What would you do, Richard, if you had a parent come to you? You know, we've had a lot of these mass shootings, school shootings.
Mhm.
If you had a parent come to you and say, can you 100% tell me that my child will be safe in your school? What kind of an answer would you give that parent?
Well, nobody in the world we live in today can tell you 100% that your child will be safe. The percentage of children that turn out to be in danger is very, very, very small. But still, you can't say 100% your child is safe. But having said that, we have in place procedures and programs to try to keep our children and our teachers and everyone in the building safe. Fewer doors are left unlocked. We have monitors in the hallways. We meet on a regular basis with local police and fire. We discuss things that can happen and what their responses will be. So there are things that we try to do to make our world safer than it is.
So if you look at that and then role play our child going into a facility where they are doing the same things that you just said are in place, and there are things in place at work where I work that keeps the patients safe, then we really should just sit back and look at that and say, wait a minute, the child's going to be okay, to try to be a little more positive.
And that's the whole, you know, Tony, you're picking up on something really important here. That is the whole point of this exercise, is really to take a look at what are thoughts that we really have control over and feelings. We're not saying here that Sophia doesn't deserve the best, or that she doesn't deserve to never be in pain or to be abused. We would never want that for her. But we can only do what we can do.
Right, and you know, now that you're saying this and you're verbalizing it out loud, it's, you know, all the things that make the kids safe in your job and the patient safe in mine, we should carry that over to the workers that are caring for these autistic children or disabled children, that they have guidelines that are keeping them safe, and that should make us feel somewhat better, that they don't want to hurt them.
Well, and we have, on occasion, we have met with the people that have worked with our child when they first come on board. We tell them what our expectations are, and we ask them to describe how they do certain things and procedures. And we do follow-up meetings with them, not often, but every now and then.
And we're pretty in tune to our daughter, you know, and I'm the type that checks her out at night when I give her a little bath and make sure there are no marks on her. You know, we can kind of tell when she's happy or very anxious. So we're very in tune to looking at her as a little person all the time. So we should be able to tell if she's okay or not, I would hope.
Well, I can tell you right now, I am so impressed with the both of you. And I thank you for being so honest today. I do think that I'd like to do one exercise with you before we end our session for the day. And I'd like you both to look at one another, because it really appears that you are a team, and tell each other that you only have control over what it is that you know that you can care for in one day. So I'd like you to look at one another and just say, and you can go first if you'd like, and just tell Richard, I only, you know, have control over certain things in my day, and I'm okay with having to relinquish the ideas of irrational thoughts that I don't have control over.
I think that we should trust the caregivers and deal with problems as they come up, and try not to dwell on the negative, because they may never come up, and just deal with what we see rationally and not fabricate in our minds things that could be going on that aren't going on or never would go on.
And Richard, do you feel comfortable expressing that to Tony too?
Yeah, you can only control things that are real, that
Right.
that you're aware of, that, and you can't control things that are just things you worry about, things that you might even cook up yourself. So you have to work on the real.
Mm-hmm.
And we will do that. If you would like to continue to work with me,
Yes.
I think that as far as your treatment plan is concerned, I'd really like to see you for at least another 8 sessions. And I think that it's important, based on what both of you have expressed to me today, that we continue to kind of work on what it is you do have control over. And just focus on those issues. And certainly any resources I can provide to you, I'm happy to do that too. And I really appreciate both of you
Thank you.
trusting me and making me a part of your planning for your family.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you too, and thank you for working with us.
Okay. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.